Some women don't collapse when tragedy happens. They collapse when they finally get space. When Stefano passed away, I was 30. My daughter was 6 months old. And overnight, the entire world landed on my shoulders. Grief, motherhood, relocation, rebuilding, financial pressure, identity reconstruction. And I did what strong women do. I functioned. I relocated 2, 3 times. I worked. I raised my daughter differently than I was raised. I kept moving. No one questioned whether I could handle it because I was the strong one. And when you are labeled the strong one, people stop checking. They assume resilience. They assume capacity. They assume stability. But capacity is not the same as support. And grief without space does not dissolve. It compresses. When Stefano passed, something else resurfaced. Old wounds, old conditioning, old expectations. But there was no time to feel it. There was a baby. There was survival. There was responsibility. So I carried. For 15 years, I carried. And I want to be clear about something. During those years, I was not ignoring my inner world. I was doing deep inner work, therapy, reflection, spiritual work, pattern recognition. I was actively trying to understand myself and grow. But understanding something mentally and having the nervous system fully release it are not always the same thing. When responsibility arrives that early and that heavily, the nervous system doesn't get to process. It braces. Bracing is sustained readiness. It's survival speed. It's vigilance disguised as strength. Your body stays slightly contracted. Your breath stays slightly shallow. Your system never fully stands down. And when you are labeled the strong one, responsibility fuses with identity. You don't just carry, you become the carrier. No one worries about you. You are the stable one. But stability without witnessing becomes silent resentment. And resentment without space becomes compression. For 45 years, I had never lived alone. Never had empty space. Never had silence without responsibility. Until December 2024. My daughter was away. For the first time in my life, I had 5 weeks alone. No one in my house. No emotional regulation required. No monitoring, no stabilizing. And my system exhaled deeply. So deeply that I almost fainted. Not because I was weak, because my body had never fully exhaled. Relief can sometimes look like collapse. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. What happens when the strong one finally stops holding? If you never had space to feel, what is your body still carrying? Inside the infinity method, this moment has a name. identity decompression. When I had been alone for several weeks, something opened. Not dramatic grief, stored grief. Grief that had no room. Grief postponed by survival. And one day I was sitting in a cafe and suddenly I felt like I might faint. I needed sugar. I needed help. I couldn't function. And that moment taught me something important. That was not weakness. That was 45 years of vigilance softening. Later that same day, when I went to pick up my daughter, she felt the shift. And for the first time, we argued. And I saw something clearly. When you've been bracing for decades, your nervous system doesn't know how to soften without disorienting the people who rely on your strength. So I did something different. I explained. I told her, sweetheart, I didn't realize how much I've been carrying. I told her I didn't realize how much resentment I've been holding. Not toward you, towards their identity of being the strong one. Because no one worries about you sounds like a compliment, but it's actually an assignment. Living unbraced isn't about becoming fragile. It's about allowing grief to move without collapsing identity. It's strength that breathes. It's sovereignty without isolation. My collapse wasn't breakdown. It was regulation catch up. The strong one doesn't need to break. She needs space to exhale. If this is landing, stay with me.